Now let's examine the key concept. Remember that you can use data displays such as box plots to make informal comparative inferences about two populations. You can compare the shapes of the data displays or the measures of center and variability. In this example, dataset A and dataset B appear to have the same median at 5. If you notice in dataset A, 50% of those data values are between 4 and 7. That's where the box is. Okay? So the box represents 50% of those data values, which makes that interquartile range 7 take away 4, or 3. In dataset B, 50% of those data values, or the box here, lie between 4 and 9, which makes that interquartile range 5. So the box in dataset B is larger or greater, which also indicates that dataset B has a greater variability. In other words, there's more difference in that data for dataset B than there is for dataset A. Now let's look at the Do You Know How questions for 4 and 5. The box plots describe the heights of flowers selected randomly from 2 gardens. Use the box plots to answer questions 4 and 5. So you have garden Y and garden Z. In question 4, they ask us to find the median of each sample. In garden Y, the median, remember, is that middle line inside the box, which is at 6 inches. For garden C, that median line is at 4 inches. Number 5 says to make a comparative inferences about the flowers in the 2 gardens. So take a look at those 2 box plots. Can you determine which flowers generally grow larger? In looking at the data, the flowers in garden Y are generally taller than the flowers in garden Z. Now, how do I know that? Take a look at the boxes. The box for garden Y is further to the right than the box for garden Z. So in general, 50% of that data are taller in garden Y than they are in garden Z. We also notice that the box for garden Z is a lot longer than the box for garden Y. So what that tells us is that there is greater variability in the heights of the flowers in garden Z than in garden Y. Now I'd like for you to try questions 7 and 8. Pause the video while you do that and come back and check your answer. Now let's take a look at question 7. You'll notice that the median of animal 2's data is greater than the median of animal 1's data. And we get that, remember, by looking at those median lines here in the middle of the box. And we notice that animal 2 is slightly to the right of animal 1. B, Liz can infer that there is less variability in the data for animal 1 than for animal 2, and that variability can come from the interquartile range and also looking at the overall spread of the data. C, Liz can infer that animal 2 generally eats more food. The box for animal 2 is further to the right than the box for animal 1, which implies that animal 2, 50% of that data, is greater than 50% of the data for animal 1. Now take a look at question 8. The median height of tree 1 is greater. Look at where that median is compared to the median in tree 2. The last question I want you to try is question 10. The box plots show the daily average high temperatures of 2 cities from January to December. Which city should you live in if you want the greater variability in temperature? Explain. Examine the box plots for city X and city Y. See if you can determine which city has greater variability in temperature. City Y is where you should live if you want greater variability in temperature. Looking at the range of temperature for each city, it's the same. The range is from 10 to 60 degrees, which makes the range 50. Then we can examine the interquartile range. The interquartile range for city X shows us how long the box is that contains 50% of that data. 50 take away 30 gives me an interquartile range for city X of 20. For city Y, the interquartile range is the difference between 50 and 25, which gives it an interquartile range of 25. So the box for city Y is longer or larger than city X, which gives city Y more variability in temperature. Now you're ready to try your Math Excel work.